At the company's annual meeting, I secretly played on my phone and sent a message to my online date. I'm so hungry. I want to eat you. The next second, the same message appeared on the president's computer screen, which was being projected. Everyone was shocked. The president calmly smiled and replied, "Okay, how do you want to eat tonight?" I glanced down at my phone's new notification and couldn't sit still. The company's annual meeting was like every other year. Leaders' introductions, leaders' speeches, leaders talking, leaders making promises. It was utterly boring. I sneakily took out my phone and sent a message to my online date. I'm so hungry. I want to eat you. Suddenly, the noisy environment went silent, like time had frozen. The colleague next to me shook my arm frantically, excited. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. Is that a happy little frog? I hummed unconsciously. My colleague, excited, tapped my hand, voice trembling. Look at the big screen. That's a message from Rocky's girlfriend. Rocky, Rocky. Everyone in the company called him a high and mighty flower, handsome, rich, and well-educated. At 27 or 28, he had already led the company to great success. But none of that mattered to me. I couldn't resist my curiosity and looked up. On the ultra-clear big screen was a Facebook page. Baby, I'm so hungry. I want to eat you. My brain froze for a few seconds and I had the urge to slap myself. The same Facebook avatar, the exact same flirtatious message. Calling it a coincidence? No way would I believe that. Our high and mighty Rocky, with calm and focused eyes, smiled at the screen. Okay, how do you want to eat tonight? Then, with a click, he closed the Facebook page. The next second, my phone buzzed twice. I looked down at the new notification, unable to stay seated. My online date was the real Rocky? After a brief silence, the room buzzed with excitement. Everyone gossiped like hungry squirrels. Who would have thought Rocky likes such a bold type? Did you see? Since that message came, Rocky's smile hasn't left his face. Rocky's girlfriend is really living the good life. I can imagine them going at it 300 rounds tonight. A colleague noticed my dazed expression and curiously asked, Zheng, why are you blushing when they're talking about Rocky and his girlfriend? How could I not blush? Hey, I just noticed Rocky's girlfriend has the same avatar as you. I forced a smile, just a coincidence, that's all. Then I quietly changed my avatar. I zipped my phone into my pocket, but my heart wouldn't settle. Who could have dreamed that Rocky was my online date? I felt like I was floating in the clouds. It all seemed so unreal. When it was time for the prize drawing, a colleague pulled me to participate. In a daze, I heard the host announce that I won the grand prize. What was the grand prize this year? Oh, it was an Apple laptop, I think. I started to regain focus. But then, seeing that the prize presenter was Rocky, I gasped. He wore a perfectly tailored suit, his aura cool and dignified. His refined features came closer, making my heart race uncontrollably. Images of the body pics he sent me flashed through my mind. In dim lighting, his abs were well defined. The veins on his hands slightly bulged, and his long fingers rested by his pants. Right, last night, I had been staring at those photos. Congratulations. Rocky's deep voice made me too nervous to lift my head. I bent forward, accepting the prize with both hands. Thank you, Rocky. In my panic, I accidentally touched his cool fingertips. Rocky recoiled as if burned, stepping back quickly, as if wanting to put a galaxy between us. I'm sorry, Rocky, I didn't mean to. His face darkened, and he silently turned away. I expected him to uphold gentlemanly behavior, but I didn't expect him to leave me so awkwardly. Back at my seat, I could feel everyone's mixed reactions. A colleague patted my shoulder, offering comfort with full confidence. I believe you didn't do it on purpose. I couldn't help but laugh. Thanks for believing in me. My phone buzzed constantly in my pocket, but I didn't dare check it. Not until the annual meeting was over and I was safely in a cab did I take it out. It was a message from Rocky. Baby, how do you want to eat me? Baby, you don't know, but when a female colleague accidentally touched me today, I pulled away immediately, I swear. I'm so well behaved, right? Baby, can I have a reward? Baby, why did you change our couple's avatar? I'll change mine to match yours. I rubbed my temples, trying to calm him down. Good boy, here's a like. No wonder he avoided me like the plague earlier. He was waiting for praise. I couldn't help but feel amused. Baby, I want a reward. Without thinking, I replied, what reward do you want? Baby, can I have a photo of you? I want to use it as my screensaver. Was this still the stern, no-nonsense President Rocky? He seemed like a completely different person. I hesitated. We had been dating online for over a year, only hearing each other's voices, without exchanging photos. If he were just a regular online date, I'd have sent the photo without hesitation. But this was Rocky. Before joining the company, the higher-ups had repeatedly warned us that Rocky despised office romances. The employee handbook even states that dating within the company is forbidden. Baby, please? After much internal debate, I replied, I'm not ready yet. Okay, baby, I'll wait for you. Baby, after we meet, I'll take you to meet my parents. We'll get engaged, get married, and then we can be together forever. What? Engaged? Married? Rocky wants to marry me? Is he crazy, or am I? I'm so tired. I have an early shift tomorrow. Let's rest early tonight. He was typing for a long time before replying. Okay, good night baby, sweet dreams, moi. I tossed and turned, unable to sleep, and showed up at work the next day with huge dark circles. During break time, everyone was still buzzing with gossip about Rocky and his girlfriend. I can't even imagine how happy Rocky's girlfriend must have been last night. Yeah, Rocky's tall, has a slim waist, and is still young. Who wouldn't love that? Just hearing this made me blush. I didn't dare touch my phone at all. At lunch, feeling lost, I arranged to meet my best friend at the cafe downstairs. You made the right choice calling me as your strategist. So, tell me, did you guys fight? No, it's just me. I want to break up. What? Serena's eyes widened. Why? Is it a personality flaw, or did he cheat? I shook my head. Neither. It's because he wants to marry me. You're breaking up just because of that? Weren't you the one who declared yourself a pure love warrior? I am all for pure love, but it's complicated. Come closer, I'll explain. I told her about my online relationship with Rocky and the company's policies. I get it. Of course, she's my best friend. You're worried it'll turn into a mess, right? Exactly. You really understand me. I'm scared that if I delay breaking up, I won't be able to get out. After all, Rocky is not only handsome but rich. Just looking at his face could make you laugh in your dreams. Breaking up is simple. I'll teach you a few tricks. Okay. Just as I was about to get up and pay the bill, I turned around and saw Rocky. When did he sit behind me? My heart skipped a beat. I was about to sneak back quietly when he looked up. His dark eyes were full of coldness. I froze in place, unable to move. I mustered up the courage to speak. Hello, Mr. Rocky. Rocky snorted softly, stood up, and walked away. After a few steps, he turned back, his eyes filled with disdain. I never thought you were this kind of person. Serena belatedly leaned in. Who is he? My boss, Rocky. He's also my online boyfriend. Serena grabbed my arm, barely able to contain her excitement. Haley, are you insane? Such a handsome man, and you want to dump him? I rolled my eyes, completely drained. I haven't even been fully exposed, and he's already left with such a bad impression of me. I have to break up with him today. Just as I was thinking that, my phone buzzed again. Baby, I went to buy coffee today and overheard a conversation. It was infuriating. How could there be such people? Dating without the intention of marriage? That's just messing around. Baby, I'm not like that. No matter what, you're the one I've decided on for life. Baby, thank God I met you and not some trash woman. Baby, what are you up to? Looking at Rocky's messages felt like a slap in the face. I'm having lunch with a friend. Baby, I miss you. Be good. I've been busy lately. Would my frequent messages affect your work? I hesitated for a moment before replying. A little. All right, I'll control myself and send fewer messages. But baby, can you promise me that you'll spend time with me when you're done? Through the screen, I could almost see him furrowing his brows, looking cautious. Okay. I quickly set Rocky's Facebook messages to do not disturb. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to resist. After ignoring him for 2 days, I opened Facebook and saw he'd sent me a lot of messages. Baby, are you still busy? Baby, happy Valentine's Day. Transfer, 100,000. Baby, why haven't you accepted it? Baby, are you mad at me? The last message was, Baby, I miss you. I want to hear your voice. I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself. We should break up. The next second, a video call came in. I hung up. He called again, and I hung up again. Baby, did something happen? Tell me, we can work it out together. I've fallen for someone else. This time, he finally went quiet. After a long pause, he sent another message. I've really tried hard in this relationship. I don't want to give up. Can you at least tell me what he has that I don't? My mind was in chaos. His words struck a chord. I'd also given 100% to this relationship. I'm sorry. I don't like long-distance relationships, and I don't like virtual connections. I sent another message. Let's delete each other. Thanks. Afraid I wouldn't be able to go through with it, I blocked him before he could respond. I really am a horrible person. Haley, take this document to Rocky's office. I hadn't adjusted my emotions yet when the manager called me. Manager, can someone else go? Without looking up, the manager replied. Should I let someone else collect your paycheck too? I'll go. As a working woman, I have no other choice. Standing at Rocky's office door, I mustered up the courage to knock. Come in. The air pressure in the room was low. I could feel it as soon as I entered. The cold air sent chills down my spine. Rocky had his head down, staring blankly at his phone. Only when I got closer could I make out that it was the Facebook chat interface. A long block of green messages, with a glaring red exclamation mark. Rocky? I softly called out. Rocky abruptly raised his head, a glimmer of hope flashing in his eyes. Then, it was replaced by disgust and disdain. It's you. I awkwardly lowered my head and handed over the document. Rocky, these are the sales figures for last quarter. Please take a look. Just leave them. His expression was distant, with his eyes slightly red. I felt so guilty. Rocky, if there's nothing else, I'll be going. Rocky nodded slightly, still staring dazedly at the screen. As my hand touched the door handle, a sharp voice commanded from behind. Stop. I froze, fearing that he might have figured it out. As my mind spiraled with worry, I shivered involuntarily. From the corner of my eye, I saw his polished black shoes approaching. I have something to ask you. My throat went dry, and my voice trembled uncontrollably. Rocky, ask away. Rocky looked down at me as if he were trying to see through me. Is your name Haley? Yes, Rocky. What a coincidence. What do you mean? Nothing. Sit down. I have a few things to ask you. I only dared to sit on the edge of the sofa. Rocky sat down calmly across from me. Do you know PayCU? I nervously swallowed. No, I don't. That's all I could say. Because Hales was a name I used as a child, and I had used that name in my online relationship with him. I heard everything you said that day. Terrified, I immediately stood up. I'm sorry, Rocky. I didn't mean to say those things and pollute your ears. I had my reasons. Rocky waved his hand, his brows furrowed. I don't want to hear your excuses. I just want to know. After breaking up, does someone like you feel no sadness at all? Sadness. How could I not feel sad? But I couldn't tell him the truth. His expression was as dark as if he could devour someone. Rocky, enough. You don't need to say anything. I don't want to see you. I knew he hated me because of the irresponsible things he overheard at the cafe. But hearing him actually say, I don't want to see you, was still painful. Rocky, I'm sorry. Even 1,000 apologies wouldn't make up for the hurt I caused him. After work, I met up with Serena at a bar. Seriously? Girl, you're the one who wanted to break up, yet you're the one feeling sad now. Haley, I don't get you anymore. I was on the verge of tears. I don't understand myself either. Maybe this is my karma. They say spilled water can never be recovered. Once words are spoken, they can't be taken back. I downed drink after drink, wanting to drown myself. Stop drinking. Serena, who had just returned from the restroom, snatched the glass from my hand. No, I'm going to drink. Drink? My ass. Come on, I'm taking you to see someone. Muttering that I didn't want to see anyone, I was dragged by Serena to a booth. Rocky. At that moment, he was slumped against the leather sofa, his eyes hazy, cheeks flushed. Clearly, he was drunk. And next to him sat a provocatively dressed woman with a curvy figure. Damn, Serena exclaimed. Just a moment ago there was no one. Now someone's picked him up. Haley, are you going to do something? As the woman lifted Rocky's chin, ready to press her fiery red lips onto his, I felt a surge of anger and rushed forward in 2 swift steps. What are you doing? He's my boyfriend. I shoved the woman aside and pulled Rocky into my arms. Don't worry, darling. I'm here to protect you. Rocky whimpered softly in my embrace, a tear sliding down his cheek. Baby, please don't leave me, okay? My heart softened. Okay, wait a minute, who are you? How is he your boyfriend? The woman blocked my path, preventing me from taking Rocky away. I saw him first. What right do you have to take him? What right? Because I'm his girlfriend. Prove it. How could I prove it? I pulled Rocky's phone from his pocket. His phone password was my birthday. Unlocking it was successful. See that? She's his real girlfriend. Who do you think you are? Move, or I'm calling the cops. Serena pushed the woman aside, clearing a path for me and Rocky. Rocky, leaning on my shoulder, was quiet yet broken. His breathing was steady, his eyes shut tight. The broke in him. his long, curly lashes still glistening with tears. After settling him in the car, Serena pulled me aside. Haley, what are you going to do now? Just so you know, there's no way I'm taking this big guy to my house. My parents would kill me. I wouldn't push Rocky onto her anyway. If I hadn't broken up with him, he probably wouldn't be at the bar drinking alone. The mess I made, I have to clean it up. I'll take care of him. Honestly, I think he's pretty good. Why don't you two just get back together? Shh! Don't say that. I came here tonight to drink my sorrows away, not to rekindle things. Serena shook her head and clicked her tongue. As an expert on love, I really don't know what to say about you two. Taking him to my place wasn't an option. All the gifts he bought me during our online relationship were there. In the end, I gritted my teeth and took him to a hotel. Rocky lay on the bed, tightly clutching my sleeve. Baby, don't leave. His voice was soft and hoarse, each word landing on my heart painfully. Rocky, I'm sorry. Secretary Alice arrived quickly. Alice, I leave Rocky to you. Thank you, Emma's. Haley. I felt a little awkward and glanced at Rocky, who was completely drunk. Alice, I have a small request. Go ahead. When Rocky wakes up tomorrow, can you not mention that I took him to the hotel? And, please, don't ever bring it up again. Alice looked at me, surprised. I smiled awkwardly and said, I have some issues with my reputation, and I don't want Rocky to misunderstand me. All right, I'll keep quiet. Thank you, Alice. The next day, as soon as I entered the office, the manager told me, Haley, Rocky wants to see you in his office. Manager, did Rocky mention why? The manager gave a cold laugh. You think Rocky would tell me? All right. At the door to the CEO's office, I ran into Alice again. He looked apologetic. Sorry, but Rocky found out. My heart sank. Honestly, I had anticipated that Rocky might find out. It's okay, Alice. You did your best. All right, go ahead. Rocky's waiting for you. I took a deep breath and opened the door, and the sight before me stunned me. Rocky was wearing a silver gray suit, his eyebrows sharp, his eyes deep. When he saw me enter, his Adam's apple bobbed. Rocky, you wanted to see me? Yes, I know everything about last night. As he said this, Rocky gave me a meaningful glance. Thank you. I quickly waved my hand. No, it was the right thing to do. I should be thankful it was me last night, otherwise. But why do you look so troubled? He stared at me, asking. I felt a shock in my heart, trying hard to hide my emotions. No, it's nothing. Rocky stood up and paced around me. The room was so quiet that I could hear my own heartbeat. Don't you want to ask me why I got drunk? What kind of question is that? I stammered. Rocky, you must have heard. I got dumped. Yes, the whole company had heard. The usually composed and unreadable CEO was wearing his emotions on his face because of a breakup. Who wouldn't guess? I know. Haley, I focus on matters, not people. You don't need to be afraid. Although you've been a bit out of line in relationships, I still have some questions I'd like to ask you. I was on the verge of tears. Every word from Rocky felt like a nail hammering into my heart. Rocky, please go ahead. What's wrong with me? He's flawless from head to toe. How could there be anything wrong with him? Rocky, you're the most perfect person I've met in my entire life. How could you have any flaws? Rocky gave a self-deprecating laugh. If I'm so perfect, why did my girlfriend break up with me? Hearing this, I wanted to slap myself hard. He's fine. Why did I make him sad? That, I don't know. That's a question you should ask your girlfriend. Rocky nodded at my words. You're right. You ask for me. What? I stared in shock as Rocky repeated himself. Add her on Facebook and ask her for me. Me? What kind of mess have I gotten myself into? You want me to ask myself? Rocky, isn't that inappropriate? It's very appropriate. She blocked me, so it's perfect for you to ask. But I don't know her. Just add her. Tell her you're a friend of mine. Doubt started to rise in his calm eyes. Before he could speak, there was a knock at the door. Come in. I regretted saying that the moment the words left my mouth. Facing Rocky's suspicious and questioning gaze, I felt uneasy. Rocky, I've been in your office long enough. Secretary Alice came in and barely flinched before quickly returning to normal. Rocky, I tactfully stood up. Rocky, Secretary Alice, I'll head out first. Back at my desk, I realized I was drenched in cold sweat. You can't avoid everything forever. I need to come up with a plan. A colleague nearby sighed. Another business trip. Business trip? An idea immediately popped into my head. XIN, how about we swap? I'll take the business trip, and you can meet the client. You're willing to swap with me? I nodded quickly, afraid she'd refuse. All right then, just don't back out. If I close the deal, the credit goes to me. I swallowed my pain and said, of course, it's all yours. I won't envy you. Boo-hoo. Business trips are tiring, but at least I can avoid Rocky. Half an hour later, I was at the train station. Boarding, ticket check. Finding my seat, everything went smoothly. After pulling out my phone, I saw a flood of messages from XAN. Haley, Rocky just came looking for you. He looked terrifying. Did you mess up? Haley, Rocky asked me for your Facebook. I gave it to him, so you should add him. That last message hit me like a bolt of lightning. I'm doomed. I'm absolutely doomed. I felt horrible. People really shouldn't do things they regret. Lost in thought, I got off the train, following the crowd in a daze. I faintly heard my phone ring. With one hand holding my suitcase, I rummaged through my bag. Suddenly, someone bumped hard into my back and I lost my balance, falling forward. Before I shut my eyes, I thought, wow, what bad luck. Karma may be slow, but it always arrives. The next second, I fell into a warm embrace, carrying the scent of light cedar. Someone held me firmly by the waist. When I looked up, I was stunned. Rocky, boss. Rocky looked at me, his gaze ambiguous. Hales is your former name, right? He knew that too. I nodded awkwardly. Rocky, I don't understand what you're saying. Oh, it's okay. Let's find a place where we can talk slowly and carefully. He held my hand with one hand and dragged the suitcase with the other. I almost struggled to pull my hand away but failed. Rocky, boss. Don't speak yet. I'm afraid I'll lose my temper. Okay. I let him lead me into the car, where he buckled my seatbelt and drove toward an unknown destination. His handsome profile was tight-lipped. I nervously swallowed. 15 minutes later, we stopped in front of an apartment building. Where is this? My home. Rocky held my hand tightly, as if afraid I might run away. Isn't your home in City A? Almost every city has my property. No need to ask more. Upon entering, I found the decor to be simple yet modern. You'll stay here for now. Could I refuse? Of course not. Rocky didn't look too good. And you? He looked at me pitifully. Do you want me to stay here? If not, I can move out. He looked like he was about to break down. This is your home, of course. You should stay here. Okay. Suddenly, a shadow fell, and he collapsed into my arms. What was happening now? I waited for a few minutes with no response. I sensed something was wrong. Rocky, no answer. When my hand touched his cheek, it was burning hot. He had a fever. Rocky, don't sleep yet. Do you have any antipyretics at home? He struggled to open his eyes, looking at me with wet eyes, and hoarsely said, no, baby, please don't go. The mist of tears in his eyes softened my heart into a puddle. I won't go. You have a fever. It's good if you don't go. With that, he gently pulled me down, and I was lying on his chest. The heat radiating through the thin fabric began to burn me up. When I looked up again, he had closed his eyes. No wonder his face looked particularly pale today. He was sick. I called for a delivery of antipyretics. 10 minutes later, the doorbell rang, but his hand was still on my waist. Just as I was about to get up, he pressed me back down. I couldn't help but laugh and cry. I won't go. I'm just going to get the medicine. You need to take it for your fever. He didn't open his eyes, but let go of my waist. Fortunately, I still had some warm water in the thermos I brought. Rocky, get up. It's time to take your medicine. I softly called in his ear. First, his eyelashes fluttered, and then he opened his dark eyes. He turned his head, and his warm lips brushed against mine. My mind went blank in an instant. Did we just kiss? In the next second, his hand was on the back of my head, deepening the kiss. After squatting for too long, my legs went numb, and my body wobbled, instinctively trying to grab his collar. Rocky suddenly picked me up and sat me in his lap. Baby, am I dreaming? If it's a dream, it's too good to be true. His face was flushed, and his body was scorching. Maybe he was out of it from the fever. With warm water, I took the antipyretics. When I stood up to put the cup away, he tightly grabbed my hand again. Rocky's eyes stared at me intensely, as if he had 1,000 words, but chose to remain silent. I won't go. You're still sick. How could I leave? He loosened his grip, but kept his gaze locked on me. The house was big and empty, but it had everything it needed. After taking the antipyretics, Rocky quickly fell asleep but kept stirring half awake. One hand clung to me tightly, so I had to sleep next to him. The more I did this, the more guilty I felt. Through the long night, I stared at the dark ceiling, not feeling sleepy at all. I didn't know how long it passed, but I noticed Rocky's breathing became heavy again. I felt his forehead, and indeed, he was burning up again. This time, it was a mild fever at 37.6 degrees Celsius. Before sleeping, I saw there was some alcohol spray in the first aid kit. Wiping it would bring the fever down faster. The wall lamp cast a soft glow, but my movements were less than graceful, because I was like a little rascal trying to undress the sleeping Rocky. Broad shoulders, narrow waist, collarbone, chest muscles, abs, and further down. I wouldn't dare to go any further. Suddenly, I felt something was off. When I looked up, I met his confused gaze. Don't misunderstand, I don't mean anything else. I just want to help you wipe the alcohol to cool you down. Rocky's long fingers grasped the blanket, then nodded. Seeing him so obedient and quiet made me want to cherish him even more. Don't be afraid, I'll be gentle. After saying that, I regretted it instantly. What nonsense was I saying? Okay. The warm towel mixed with alcohol touched his forehead, and his body noticeably trembled. I nervously asked, "What's wrong?" He smiled with squinted eyes. "It's nothing, keep going." I tried hard to focus on cooling him down, trying my best to ignore his burning gaze. Forehead, neck, chest, back. God knows how hard I tried to suppress my desires. No, the texture of his skin was just too good, and he always carried a faint scent that seemed sweet. After wiping his upper body, it was time for the lower half, and Rocky grabbed his waistband. That made me look like a starving ghost. My ears felt like they were on fire, and I dryly said, "No need to take off your pants, just roll them up." After I finished wiping, I jumped off the bed and headed to the bathroom. Not for anything else, but because I was freaking bleeding from my nose. I was going to die. For me, Haley, the most embarrassing thing in 23 years had just happened. After a long time, I finally stopped the bleeding. There was a knock on the bathroom door, and Rocky's concerned voice came from outside. "Haley, are you okay?" I held my nose and replied in a muffled voice, "I'm fine, I'll be out soon." After confirming my face was clean and fresh, I opened the door. He leaned half against the door frame, his pajama collar slightly open, revealing a hint of his strong chest. I swallowed hard and asked, "Why aren't you lying in bed?" "I'm worried about you." I waved my hand dismissively. "I'm fine." For some reason, Rocky suddenly widened his eyes. "You." If I wasn't mistaken, he seemed to be pointing at my nose. I touched it. Sure enough, it was bleeding again. "I'm sorry, I'll go wash up." I quickly closed and locked the door. Turning back, I saw my reflection in the mirror. The lower half of my face was covered in blood. "Haley, you have a nosebleed." "Yeah, I know." I really admired myself for answering so calmly. "Why did you lock the door?" "I wanted some quiet." The person outside finally quieted down, leaving behind 3 words, "I'll wait for you." Instantly, the pressure rose again. "No need, just go back to bed. Otherwise, I might get angry." "Don't get angry, I'll go lie down right now." I looked up at the ceiling, my neck almost cricking. The nosebleed finally stopped. After a long delay, I finally opened the door. Rocky quickly got up. The blanket he had covered himself with slipping off, exposing large patches of skin again. I hurriedly covered my nose, afraid of embarrassing myself again. "Haley, are you okay?" "I'm fine." "It might just be the dry weather." "No, it must be the dry weather." "Yes, I feel it too. I'll have someone bring a humidifier tomorrow." Okay, so you should sleep quickly." "I also need to go to sleep. I have a meeting with the client tomorrow." Before he could respond, I dashed out the door. I was immediately followed by the sound of him getting up. Rocky strode over and grabbed my shoulder. "You went the wrong way. This is the bedroom. Change your clothes too." With that, he stuffed a bundle of something into my arms and turned to leave. It was a white robe, still a men's one. Looking down, I found that several bright drops of blood had dripped onto my white shirt, which was particularly eye-catching. The men's robe I held still carried a faint woody fragrance, identical to the one on Rocky. He was about 1.8 meters tall, and I was 1.7 meters. The robe reached my ankles perfectly. Every time I thought of his perfect figure, my imagination ran wild. Unfortunately, I remained wide awake until late at night. His voice and smile flashed through my mind like a movie. Wait a minute, why didn't he ask me why I wanted to break up? And that kiss by the sofa. Who kisses someone they plan to break up with? I should have pushed him away then. But his lips were so soft, his waist so slim, and his chest so firm, holding me made me feel secure. Countless thoughts twisted in my mind like a tangled mess. My heart felt sour and swollen. I didn't know when I fell asleep, but when I heard him knocking on the door, it was already 8 a.m. Oh my god, I still had a meeting with the client. Opening the door, I saw his fresh and handsome face, with a light smile in his eyes. You. We both spoke at the same time. Rocky smiled. "You go first. Are you feeling better?" "Much better. Thank you for taking care of me last night." It's no big deal. Besides, you're my boss. Taking care of you is my duty. Before I could finish speaking, the smile on his face slowly faded. I felt inexplicably anxious and continued to add, actually, even if you weren't my boss, just a regular person, I still wouldn't ignore you. As soon as I finished, Rocky's face completely darkened. No, I didn't mean anything else, don't misunderstand. What I mean is, Haley, you said you don't like electronic relationships. Now that we've met in reality, would you still accept me? Ding 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 ding. The harsh alarm reminded me that I had to leave. I'm sorry, I have to go meet the partner. Can we talk another day? A strong arm suddenly blocked my way. Okay, I'll take you. That won't work, you're still sick. I can just take a taxi. Rocky's brows furrowed, his profile looking stubborn yet pitiful, while his other hand unknowingly tugged at the hem of my shirt. Don't reject me, okay? I'll be sad. His voice was low, sounding like a poor little puppy. How could I bear to refuse even this small request? After finishing my work, it was already afternoon. He waited in the car for me for 4 hours. I'm sorry for keeping you waiting. He smiled and shook his head. No, I'm happy to wait for you, no matter how long. His voice was pleasant, and his eyes were deep. My face instantly heated up. Are you hungry? Let's eat first and then go to the hospital. Okay. Fortunately, it was just a common cold, and I urged Rocky to take his medicine. Haley, do you have any other unfinished business? Without thinking, I shook my head. No. Rocky sighed with relief, his tone slightly testing. Can we talk about us then? Here it comes. He looked at me quietly, a strange sadness lingering on his face. Haley, I've thought it over. If you don't want to get married, I won't force you. He misunderstood after all. Well, that makes sense. That day, my conversation with Serena indeed sounded very shady. What does it sound like? Like a scummy person who doesn't acknowledge their actions after the fact. But my reason for wanting to break up isn't that. I didn't mean that. I just think we're moving into marriage too quickly, and I might not adapt. Rocky's dim eyes reignited with hope. Does that mean we can continue dating? I hesitated. Rocky paused and continued, is it because of the company policy? Sort of. At this point, there was no point in hiding. From the moment I learned of his identity, I had been weighing the pros and cons. Perhaps we had genuine feelings for each other during this year of dating, but back in reality, he was the high and mighty CEO. How could he possibly like a newly promoted employee? Doesn't it say in books that those in power never lower themselves to seek love? The rules are dead, but people are alive. As long as it doesn't affect work, I turn a blind eye to relationships within the company. Besides, this rule was set when my father was still around. I don't abolish it out of respect for him, but people have emotions and desires. It's a natural part of life. Finally, he smiled helplessly and said, I run a company, not a temple. I don't know if it's just my illusion, but on the way back, Rocky's eyes grew darker. Once we returned to the apartment, he pushed me against the wall as soon as I closed the door. Warm breath brushed against my face, his handsome face so close. I forced myself to ask, what's wrong? He took my hand and guided it to his lower abdomen, his voice hoarse. I remember you said you wanted to touch my abs, but I already touched them last night. I had rubbed his body and touched them for quite a while. Haley, I am yours. I instantly felt a rush of blood. He really knew how to tease me, didn't he? I was the one who kissed him first, and in the end, I was the one begging for mercy. It was 4:30 in the morning when I called Serena. Haley, are you sick? It's not even 5 o'clock and you're calling me just to show off your big teeth? No, just look at me. Do you see anything different? Serena squinted at me, and after a moment, she exclaimed, what the hell? Why are you wearing a men's robe? Did you have a guy stay over? Wait, that wall background isn't your place. Oh my god. Haley, who did you sleep with? I restrained the corners of my mouth that were about to curl up. We got back together. Oh right, it's too early. You should go back to sleep. Bye. Haley, you son of a. Serena was fully awake now, attacking me wildly over the phone. Helpless, I could only tell her, I'll tell you when I get back. It's not convenient now. Stop talking nonsense. You can video chat to show off, but you can't tell me the truth. I promise I'll explain everything clearly when I get back. You better do that. During the day, Rocky was expressionless, cool, and noble. But as soon as he saw me, he instantly transformed into a clingy and obedient puppy. It took us a year for our relationship to stabilize completely. I complained to Serena, but she just rolled her eyes at me. Who was the one who suffered back then? Okay, I had no rebuttal. As time went on, I genuinely felt that Rocky was not only a qualified boyfriend, but might also be a good husband in the future. He brought me flowers, necklaces, and bags. But he had never given me a ring. I secretly measured his ring size and ordered matching rings. On his birthday, I invited family and friends. Rocky, will you marry me? He looked at me incredulously, a thin mist quickly forming in his eyes. I will. Haley, I will. When I put the ring on his finger, my hand trembled a bit. He held me tightly. Haley, I'm so happy. A warm tear fell onto my shoulder. Haley, I love you. I love you too.